Every day without Hytale is suffering. What's up guys, it's me3 and welcome back to another video. Today I want to talk about exploration in Hytale. We're going to do a bit of speculation, a bit of guesswork, and a bit of wishful thinking. Anyways guys, if you're new around here, my name is Hytale. I've been covering Hytale on and off pretty much since the game was announced, and more recently I'm committing to regular Hytale uploads once a week. So if that interests you at all, be sure to subscribe and hit the bell if you're a real one. Only if you're a real one though. Exploration can be split into three categories: content, variety, and rewards. Or, what do I have to do? Oh god, I have to do that again? And why the hell did I just do that? And how to not make the game feel like that. Let's talk about the content first. Content will most likely include primarily killing corridors. What is a killing corridor, first of all? A killing corridor is just a randomly generated structure that is extremely linear and just has a bunch of mobs in it. We have actually seen these, even in this screenshot alone, we see a ruin with a massive mine under area. And it's probably going to be full of mobs and probably going to have its own loot. We're probably going to see quite a lot of that because it is easy to procedurally generate. All we need is slight variations in the corridors and Bob's your uncle. These are probably going to be separate from dungeons, and dungeons are going to be their own instant thing. You're going to take through portals. I might make a future video on dungeons, be sure to stay tuned for that. Next up, I want to see unique NPCs with their own quests. We know all the races in all the zones are going to have their own villages or their own little structures, their own huts where they reside, and they're probably going to give us stuff to do. And that's cool and all, but what I really want to see is maybe a couple, one or two Quebecs, they've run off in their own hole and they have their own little story. Hytale is procedurally generated, and the devs have said that they don't want to create massive structures, so we're not finding any underground cities or anything. On the level of Elden Ring, where you can walk down some random crevice in a cliff and find a massive underground city, I don't think we're going to get that in Hytale at all. So what they can do to kind of get the similar experience is really tell some more focused stories from a more individualized perspective. And I think having some unique NPC that you find that's separate from the main story not only rewards incentivization, but kind of gives you those same moments as finding a massive structure with a really cool story. And I feel like that would just be great. Next up, random encounters. Random encounters are a great way to spice up the parts of the world that you've already visited and walked around. Say you've got this path you've walked up and down hundreds of times to get back and forth to these locations, but suddenly one time you're walking along the path, there's a massive skeleton, and it's got a bunch of minions, and if you kill them you get a bunch of loot. That's a random encounter, something you weren't really expecting, no matter where you are in the world, and I really hope we see some of that and make it really rewarding as well. Also, crafting materials. It's going to have survival game elements. We know there's going to be crafting, we know you're going to be able to make your own weapons and stuff like that. I really hope all the stuff you need to max your gear out properly is really spread out around the world, so you really want to go everywhere. Not too hard to find, like this one flower that you need to create the best gear is hiding in the middle of the world without any visible hints or anything, none of that. But it's just maybe a specific flower that's found at the top of the mountains, a specific ore that's found at the bottom of a cave biome, stuff like that, that's just all over the place, that makes you really want to explore the world. Because making a player want to explore the world is really making a player want to experience the game the best they can. Next up, let's talk about variety. Now, you might think procedurally generated content makes for infinite variety, but have you played a Ubisoft game these days? Procedurally generated quests usually lead to go to here and kill X thing, or go to here and collect X thing. I really do hope Hytale doesn't go too much down that path. In a lot of non-procedural fantasy RPGs, you will often stumble past a structure and think to yourself that really looks like a place where a quest could be held. But Hytale won't really have that luxury, except kind of in dungeons. Everything will be procedural, and it will be really hard to design quests. Hytale will have a quest system, and as long as it's not just a story quest thing, I really hope they manage to flesh the whole thing out and really make you want to go out and explore. Now, one thing that will help massively with Hytale's variety is the different zones. We know there are going to be at least 6 zones, and even if you have one type of content, even if you just have killing corridors in the entire game, if you just put those all in 6 zones with different mobs and different rewards and different settings and scenarios, that'll just help the game massively. I would honestly be happy with that, to be honest. It would just be so interesting. And if you can add procedural layers on top of all of the content I listed before, you're going to have a game set forever. From the gameplay we've seen of Hytale, we know there's going to be a lot of ruins, and I hope that the quests are more than that. I hope we get some more really story-based elements and I hope they can tell something really, really interesting. Next up, rewards. Rewards have to be transformative. What do I mean by that? Well, we've seen transformative weapons in Hytale. Most of the weapons we've seen are metal. We can know they've been crafted like bronze, iron, daggers, swords, maces, bows, all those types of stuff, as well as probably some magical weapons. But there is one transformative weapon we have seen, and that's the fire sword. We've seen it a lot. Even back from when the game was announced, we've seen the fire sword. And I really hope Hytale can create as many of these weapons as possible that are really different. I think the fire sword alone is probably going to have unique effects, unique stats, and maybe even some unique abilities. I really think that will incentivize exploration. If you put those behind like hard bosses, or random encounters, or some places in the world, you make as many transformative rewards as possible. Cool pieces of armor that might give you like extra movement speed, or like a cool ability or a passive, stuff like that. That'll be really interesting, and make all those unique and really fun and rewarding as well. I think that'll help the game massively. Even if the content is a bit samey, you'll want to go do those things for those rewards, and just having all these different options on your plate will also want you to keep coming back in the future. Different types of content need to give different rewards. For example, if you're doing a farming quest, you might want something related to farming. Rewards also need to be viable. You can't have the best way to level up your character be one straight line. You've got to make them go all over the place, I think. That's the best way to experience the game. And if they can incentivize that with varied rewards and interesting rewards and engaging gameplay, then Hytale will succeed. Anyways guys, that's me on exploration. I hope you did enjoy it. Leave a like if you liked it, leave a dislike if you disliked it, subscribe if you're new, hit the bell if you're a real one, tap out. Peace. See ya.